So the creator economy recession is here. This isn't hype. We're going to be looking at real data in this video. In fact, Mr. Beast's manager shared an insider document with the creators that they manage, talking about with the market in free fall, content creators need to prepare for the worst. Another article said that major streamers are reevaluating how they do business amid recession fears. And Business Insider revealed that layoffs are hitting the creator economy and brand deals are being canceled. And so in this video, we're going to be talking about the 6 things you need to know in order to prepare yourself for the coming storm. I'm going to be talking about a way to get extra cash right now. If you already have a YouTube channel, somebody will pay you for your back library, which is nice to have a little extra bread to weather, what's coming. And then finally, why actually this recession could be beneficial and why this could be an opportunity if you respond and adapt your business accordingly. All that and more is coming up today on the Coffee with Cannell show. What is up? Sean Cannell here, Rhymes with YouTube channel, and I'm fired up for the Coffee with Cannell show today. What we do is in the beginning, for the first 20 minutes or so, I'm going to be sharing a lot of tactical advice with you, some brand new information and news that you need to know. But stick around because towards the end of the video, I'm going to be breaking down 3 specific strategies that I think can bring a little bit of optimism and opportunity in the midst of some very real hardship that is already here and coming our way as creators, entrepreneurs, and business owners. And in part 2 of the show, we do Q&A, so you can stick around for that as well. And if you have a question, we'll get to that a little bit later. Smash like if you are fired up today for the content. And we're going to get straight into this. Now, let's kind of get a bearing on what's happening here and what we're going to cover. Business Insider recently released this article, How Creators Can Prepare for a Recession, according to a top manager with clients like Mr. Beast. And actually, Reed Desher released a email and a document on LinkedIn that has some powerful advice, and we're going to be covering those tips and more in this video. Here's Screen Daily, though, and it says why major streamers are reevaluating how they do business amidst recession fears. Netflix has lost a lot of subscribers, and there is a lot of tech companies that are slumping in a major way right now. Warner Brothers Discovery dropped 27% of its market recently. And amidst rising inflation and rising interest rates, especially tech companies are kind of backing off a little bit. In fact, this article says that layoffs are hitting the creator economy, and 8 startups have cut staff since May. Now, this means startups that actually serve the creator economy, like Substack, Cameo, Jelly Smack, and they're actually laying off staff. So these are signals that, of course, you and I need to be paying attention to. Now, Watcher Guru on Twitter said this, just in, Coinbase has lowered payouts to social influencers due to market conditions. This is the cryptocurrency website Coinbase that would be paying for influencer marketing, paying for influencers, maybe like you've seen, like a Graham Stephan sponsored by a Coinbase. They're lowering those payouts. Now, of course, the crypto winter is kind of already here. But again, these are signs and signals that we need to be paying attention to. And before we get into the first 6 tips, before the 3 tips that I have for you towards the end, we actually have some really valuable content from Miguel Lozada here. And he says this, creators and influencers public service announcement. I've personally had 4 out of the 6 Q3, Q4 paid activations canceled last week. Doesn't mean panic, but it's time to start making sure you are prepared for a possible rough patch. Time to start thinking and planning now versus later. And I want to cover these things he had to consider, but just in case, just to explain this a little bit if you're new to this, a lot of creators, in fact, not many of the creators necessarily that subscribe to the Think Media podcast, because in our world, it's a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, diversified revenue streams. But the primary business model in the creator economy of kind of entertaining creators, or many, right, would be, of course, YouTube ad revenue, and then working with brands. And so what Miguel is saying here, right, is that he has had 4 out of 6 deals for this second half of 2022 canceled by brands. And so, one of the big things we do at Think Media is we do brand deals. It's over $1 million business for us. And so we're preparing as well to say, okay, wait a minute. We might not be able to depend on this revenue in the same way because most of the brand deals we also work with, right, are actually tech companies, Buzzsprout, vidIQ. And so these tech companies with staffs, they're preparing, they're looking at the layoffs that are happening in Tesla and all these different places. And so here's some of the strategies, just as kind of a primer for today's episode, that he's saying that companies are going to be spending less on activations and less on paid digital media. So plan for less money from YouTube ads and expect Twitch new ad incentive program to take a hit too, so you can secure the bag while it's still offered. Also, you're going to get less money from brand partnerships and activations. Now, we also should note here that, of course, this isn't fear mongering. You know, you might see the thumbnail and the title on this video and say that that's clickbait. It's not clickbait. This is very real information. But, you know, here at Think Media, like, we don't have a spirit of fear. We have a spirit of power and of love and of a sound, clear thinking mind that just adapts accordingly. We're not ignorant to what's happening in the marketplace and in the world. We want to be aware so we can plan. And that's what today's real episode is about. Is this stuff a guarantee to happen? Well, you can't say it's a guarantee, but the probabilities are pretty high as we are seeing these signs and signals. You know, if you see smoke, there's probably a fire. So, you know, let's keep going. Supporters and viewers will be going through the same rough situation. Don't expect the same tendency of gifted subs, donations, and regular subs. Also, don't be tone deaf. Bring up free ways people can show support, watching your content and gaining on socials, etc. So his tips here are that not only might YouTube ad revenue go down and might brand partnerships pull money out of the system, but also as layoffs are happening, your viewers could be in a situation where they're going through a rough situation as well. So they might not be doing, in this case, you know, donations, super chats. People have a lot less money for just your t-shirt on Teespring, your merch. And so people they're going to be more careful with their dollars, or their dollars might evaporate. They might go through hard times. And also, don't be tone deaf. If you're insulated from any kind of recession, it's not a really good look when hard times are happening and you're flexing and taking pictures on a private jet, or just completely unaware of what's happening in the world and in the market, right? And so here's a couple more tips from Miguel before we get into the 6 tips. And he says this: look over your spending recently and start budgeting now. Set limits and start saving where you can and if you can. So be wise with your money now. This could be simple things, or even accepting now is not the time to go full time, or maybe it's a good time to pick up a small part-time job and get some extra cash. Really wise. This might just be a rough patch for 6 months or 18 to 24 months. No one knows, but the signs show it's time to prepare for things before they really start getting rough. And then you have another creator here, verified on Twitter, saying, I just lost my Facebook contract after 7 months with them. A lot of companies are cutting, and you can see this Twitter thread as well if you're interested. And so there's smoke. And so that means there's probably a fire, a brewing. And if you are just joining the stream, again, this isn't hype about there being a recession. The media is not really talking about it. And a lot of media outlets are saying, like, maybe we're going to go into a recession. What a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of the GDP going down and not going up. So we're already there based on the definition. See, Forbes said US recession is already 6 months old, says a Fed model. And so in a way, semantics may or may not matter in this case. But I think the big idea is that this is one of the most important videos that you could be watching right now. There's no better strategy than to have foresight, than to look ahead, than to prepare, than to see danger coming and to position yourself ahead of time. Most won't. So I encourage you, grab something to take notes with, really block out some time, because I want to give you some really practical strategies and inside of the thinking that we're doing here at Think Media, so that you ultimately don't get crushed in the coming calamity, but ultimately you can thrive and crush it and at least survive and weather the storm, or potentially even see your greatest season of growth. And I'm going to be sharing with you some powerful stories of creators that I've interviewed over the years whose careers were birthed in a previous recession. You know, the truth is that I know you may have personally experienced ups and downs over the last few years. Maybe you've been through different economic hard times, but the creator economy itself really hasn't seen a recession yet. Here's what I mean. The last major US recession was back when the housing bubble burst, the big short, when everything crashed. That's when my wife and I actually got crushed. I mean, it was the hardest season of our life. Back then, we actually had two houses on declared income, an ARM mortgage, a family living in one of the houses with us. So, because we saw it as an investment, tenants renting the other one. And when the economy crashed right around 2009, the tenants couldn't pay anymore. We couldn't float that. The family that we were living with in our house renting, we actually were living with the family, husband and wife and their daughter, and renting out another room. And it was us in the house in order to make everything work. They all move out. So we're getting crushed in that house. That house has to short sell. The other house forecloses. During that same season, our church collapsed because of actually nothing related to this recession, but some people stole some money. And so I was losing that flow of income. I'm waiting tables at Red Robin. And that was the season when my wife got really sick and almost died as well. So I've been through this before. So I've got a few scars and a few, challenging things I've been through that I think will be helpful for you as we dive into these tips. But since that time, the word creator economy didn't even exist then. And there really hasn't been a recession since 2010. If you look at the markets, it's gone up and up and up and up. Interest rates have stayed low. And even in 2020, lots of sectors got crushed and during the pandemic and different things. However, creators' views went up because when people were locked down, a lot of people were watching more YouTube than ever before. That was the narrative we heard the most for those that were creating content because people all of a sudden had a bunch of time. On Think Media, our views, and you can see it, we didn't even post new content. I mean, we were posting new content, but all of our past videos, which is what we teach in Video Rake It Academy and whatnot, right? We had all this library of valuable content. As soon as the lockdowns happened, we went from about 100,000 views a month just consistently on search-based to 200,000. We just saw an instant jump as people were at home locked down. So what we're entering into now is different than where we've been before. We're entering into real, obviously, a war is going on. Inflation is skyrocketing. You've probably felt it at the gas pump. You may be feeling it at the grocery store. You may be feeling it with used cars, furniture. You may be seeing it. Real inflation is happening. Real layoffs are happening. Real global disruption is happening. And therefore, this recession, and even during 2020, brand deals weren't really pulling back. They were leaning in. This is now starting to finally hit the creator economy for the first time. So creators might not be ready for this. And so with that, I want to dive into these 6 tips for you and what to do. And these are inspired. I'll add a little bit to them from my standpoint, and I've pivoted a little bit. But this article that Reed released, or this kind of public service announcement that he released, that he put on LinkedIn, really broke down some things. And I'll link this in the description later when I optimize the video. But let me dive into these tips for you. And definitely massive credit to Reed, CEO of Knight. But here we go. Number 1, prepare for lower ad revenue. And so Reed suggests that you plan for a 30% dip in AdSense and brand partnerships over the next 12 to 24 months. And we've already seen it. Graham Stephan did a video about his CPM dropping. The document, another number is that your RPM. What's the difference between your RPM and your CPM, right? Your CPM is how much money your channel gets total. So let's say you have a $10 CPM. That's how much money YouTube can charge for brands to advertise on your videos. Your RPM, revenue per mil, cost per mil, your RPM is the money you actually keep. And a lot of times what they say is that it should be 50-50, but we don't really see it being 50-50. Like if we have a CPM of, just for simple numbers, $10, our RPM is a lot of times like 4.5, maybe 5 or 380 or something. So all that to say is that the both numbers are correlated, and whichever way you want to slice it, let's simplify. Prepare for lower ad revenue. I think it's just a good idea to always be prepared for the worst. There's actually a proverb that says, do your best, prepare for the worst, trust God to bring the victory. It's like, why not assume that the best is going to happen, but prepare for the worst situation to happen? And then also just have faith throughout the entire process. I think that's a really good uh, positioning to have. And these are rough estimates based on previous instances of ad revenue downturn on YouTube. And so I think that those are some good metrics. So if you haven't really been into budgeting before, or you haven't really been into planning before, I think you should take any number you're getting right now, and you could take 30% off of that and then say, okay, that would be my new operating budget. Let me just take the money that's coming in, assume it's going to drop, say 30%, and then operate accordingly, as opposed to living large on money that may be drying up over the next 12 to 24 months. Number two, stack cash now. Now, this is really cool. There's a couple startups that you should know about. Reed talks about these startups like Spotter, Creative Juice, and Jelly Smack. Spotter's one who I recently spoke at VidCon, talked to a bunch of people from the Spotter team. If you haven't heard about this before, you really need an established catalog of YouTube videos, but here's what this company does. If you go to Spotter and if you qualify, this would assume you have a good library of content. I think a lot of times they say at least 100 videos, and your content has some real value to it. Like your old library is being viewed. What they actually do is you license your back catalog to them. Now watch, not your new videos, but like starting, say, at the end of this month, everything previous gets licensed to them, and they actually pay you one lump sum of money. Now, it's a 5-year license at the time of recording. These are the terms. And of course, I'm sure they do different negotiation. But what's happening is they're going to take your back catalog, and instead of YouTube running ads on it, they just kind of like a old school MCN, they run ads on it instead. And so they can negotiate their own ads. So it might sound sketch, but it's a completely solid company. Mr. Beast works with them. A lot of big YouTubers work with them. And in some cases, for super huge, influential, high view channels, people are getting $1 million checks, multi-million dollar checks. Now, if you're watching this, it's probably not going to be true for you or I, but the chance of maybe getting 52K, $156,000. In fact, a friend of mine, I heard about their story. They have a yoga channel, worked with them. Their past catalog and even some of their new content, they were much more of a mid-sized creator. And I think they were able to negotiate something like $68,000 or $142,000 for their back catalog. And again, there's Spotter, which is the company, you can look them up. They're, of course, trying to get a good deal, but they're also risking with you as well, like the value of your back catalog. And if you're going to keep making new videos, here's the reason that this strategy is being recommended, stack cash now, is because it's nice to have money in hand ahead of a potential recession, but it's also nice to have money in hand so that you can invest and scale your business now. Like money today potentially is better than theoretical money tomorrow. And so you can read more about this, but these deals also might be a little bit harder to come by even in the years to come, because Jelly Smack is one of these companies. They just laid off 8% of their staff. So the terms might even be changing, but acting fast now would be a better time to act than waiting till the middle of Death Valley. Like if you see it coming, it might be smart to get into position. So that's it might be smart to get positioned. Now, that may, if you're new to YouTube, that probably doesn't apply to you. But some of our listeners may really want to check that out. But let's talk about a couple other thoughts for stack cash now. Do anything you can to save and to be wise with money now. One of the things that I am thoughtful of at Think Media is, how do we cut our spending? How can we be more smart with how we're saving? How can we do certain activities to get cash? There's some companies, for example, that will buy your used camera gear. And there's companies that will, maybe you want to flip some couches, sell your used camera gear. There's a cool online website. The website escapes me. I talked to them at VidCon. Um, downsize maybe. So, this is a whole separate note, but right now the housing market in some areas seems to be impervious to this, but it really depends on looking at your local market. Because right now in Vegas, I just saw some crazy data. There's like 200 houses coming on the market a week. You go on Zillow, a lot of people are dropping their price by 50K, luxury homes by 100K. So what is that telling us? It's just actually telling us that it actually could be a lot harder to claim the peak of your house price if you're a homeowner in 3, 6 months, 9 months. And you could actually liquidate your home now for a premium price, rent, and then reinvest in the recession. Just like that, again, no financial advice in this video, really, but it's just stack cash now. I mean, Sean, what are you trying to say? I'm trying to say stack cash now is what I'm trying to say, right? And so be wise. That's a really great strategy and thought as it comes to this. Number 3, diversify your income streams. And so, this is one of our favorite tips and one of the biggest things I recommend all the time here in our Think Media world. And I think that you as a creator in this world are already thinking this way. But what does this mean? It means that if ad revenue goes down 30%, well, you're cool. You got other income streams. Like at Think Media, that would be frustrating, but not fatal. If our brand deals go down 30%, that's going to be brutal, but we're going to be okay. Why? Because we also have e-learning products. We also have digital courses. Why? Because I also have a book that's self-published, YouTube Secrets, 2nd edition, just came out. It sells about 1,000 to 2,000 copies a month because it's ranked on Amazon. That's like organic traffic finding it. The ebook, the audiobook, and the physical book, actually, the margins on that book are pretty good because it's self-published. And so that's another income stream. On top of that, speaking is an income stream. Consulting is an income stream. Creating content. We don't do a lot of done for you content really through Think Media, but we can turn our skills towards doing video production work, marketing work, running paid media for other people. That's another income stream. And so explore other monetization opportunities. And let me know actually, what are your income streams right now? Have you already started making money on YouTube? And what are the best income streams for your niche? If you're not sure, this is another one to get educated on. We have all kinds of content for you to help you learn about YouTube, how to make the most money, how to find the best income streams for you, because it depends on your niche. And there would be tip number 3 for not just surviving, but thriving and weathering the storm in the midst of the creator economy recession. Now, we're going to get into 3 more tips, plus some good news in the midst of all of this. But I want to say today's episode is brought to you by the Think Media podcast. We're so excited, even though I know the news in this is heavy, but we are so committed to creating our podcast to help you weather the storm. And guess what? It's free. Every single Tuesday, we release an episode of the podcast. It's free to you to listen to. So check out this quick video, and we're going to get into the rest of the tips in just a second.
Are you looking for the best YouTube marketing and money-making strategies for growing your online business faster? Well, then make sure that you subscribe to the Think Media podcast. Every single Tuesday, we release a power-packed, actionable podcast episode where Sean and Heather cover the latest advanced strategies for growing faster on YouTube. They bring on industry experts and pick their brains on how they can use YouTube to grow with their business and how you can too. And so if you want to find the Think Media podcast, be sure to check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube, and simply search Think Media Podcast wherever you like to listen to podcasts, or just go to thinkmediapodcast.com.
All right, we are talking about 6 tips of really how creators can prepare for a recession according to a top manager with clients like Mr. Beast. And let's get into tip number 4, which is make a firm financial plan. All right, so how do we get ready? And again, you might be wondering, Sean, what if a recession doesn't happen though? Because there's two camps right now, right? There's the camp that's seeing the writing on the wall and that's saying, man, look at the crypto crash, look at the market crash, look at the layoffs. And then some people are saying these are not actual indicators. We may get through this okay. Well, here's the thing. If we get through this, but you are more conservative, more strategic, you position yourself better. If we get through this and you've just saved more money, doubled down on your content strategy, been more wise, been more intelligent, and tighten your belt, well, then you're going to be even better positioned if this video about recession is wrong. But if this video is not wrong and you go, nah, everyone's just saying peace, peace, don't worry, it's no big deal, then you're going to get crushed if you don't position yourself wisely. So in one scenario, it's just smart to be smart. On the other scenario, it's risky to just hope things are going to be a certain way and then be surprised by whatever happens. So number 4, as far as make a firm financial plan, I don't see any downside to doing this. And so this, a couple steps that Reed recommended. 1, you should have a sense of where all revenue is coming from. Now, let me speak to you if you're in the side hustle season. You should be really auditing your revenue right now anyways. Okay. How much is coming in really from work? You have a spouse, you have a partner. How much is our dual income? Where's money coming in? You may want to pick up a side job. Is there, and I mean, besides your creative videos, okay, I'm going to drive Uber, Lyft a couple days a week. Where's the money coming in? And then if you do have online income coming in, you're asking, okay, how much ad revenue is coming in? If I look back a few months, where's the money coming from? And maybe you have some affiliate programs. How much is Amazon bringing in? You've got your YouTube ad revenue. How are things going there? You did create a course or a book or some kind of a product or merch, really evaluating your revenue streams. And then be asking, how are you spending money? Like, where's the money going out? So pull out that credit card statement. And this could be a time to trim some of those expenditures. If you're a little bit further along, you might be asking, and we're kind of thinking about this. I think media, we have 23 people. And of course, one of my goals is no layoffs. And we're nowhere near that, thank God. And I think because of wisdom, because I'm an incredibly conservative leader. I try to live extremely below our means, even as we've had incredible seasons at Think Media. I'd never want that to go to my head. But I asked now Billy, our executive producer, I started saying, listen, Billy, you really got to add up. We're talking about make a firm financial plan. You got to say, okay, now we pay an editor. Someone helps us make a thumbnail. We've got the content creator themselves being paid. And then we have how much money does that video earn? What's the AdSense that comes in from it? How much affiliate can we correlate, affiliate income? And if a brand is paying us, how much is that? And are we losing money? Let's say it cost us these days at Think Media $2,342 to make a video, which in some cases could be true. You add up all the different things and you even have some support staff. And therefore, there's a real arbitrage that we have to consider. Yes, brand deal. Yes, affiliates. Yes, whatever. But we only make 1,921. Well, that's not a good strategy to lose money. Like, that's not going to be very sustainable. So depending from advanced to beginner, like, you want to be thinking about what's coming in, what's going out. How can you tighten your belt per video? And honestly, how much is it costing you to post a video is one of the questions Reed asks. How much is it costing you if it takes you 8 hours to do a video? How much time does it take you to do a video in your side hustle season? Well, it takes me 8 hours. Well, again, practically, you might say, okay, can I pick up more time at work, overtime, do a side hustle, side business? One of the questions we ask all the time is, what is our shortest path to revenue? Maybe you simplify your content creator schedule. You narrow it down more intelligently. I'm going to start doing a video podcast. I'm going to hire Repurpose House or one virtual editor. And that might sound crazy. You might be like, wait, I'm tightening my belt, but I'm hiring. No, you're streamlining. You're going to drive Lyft, Uber, shoot once a week, hire an editor for a very affordable rate, and then really streamline your content production, realizing you can't shoot for 10 hours, edit for 15, because the hours are being used too inefficiently. Just throwing some stuff at you to really figure out, right, if you're in a good spot or a vulnerable spot, and then to make a plan accordingly. Number 5, be prepared with a rainy day fund. Come on, Dave Ramsey. Where are my Dave Ramsey fans out? Do you have your emergency fund? And so, you know, here's my advice. This is a great tip from Reed, but I was listening to my friend Whiteboard Finance, and he was saying this: all of us should, well, first of all, pay down bad debt. What's bad debt? You got to get your credit cards with 14%, 20%, 28% APR crushing you. You got to get those things paid off. Any really high interest debt, that could be one of your hemorrhaging. That's where you're really bleeding, right? And then after you do that, you want to save up an emergency fund. That's 6 months of what it would cost for you and your family to live. So you've got that margin. What if you get sick? What if you get hurt? Smart going into a recession. But Whiteboard Finance shared a great tip. And he was saying, Marco, right, was saying, if you're an entrepreneur or solopreneur or solo creator, you need 12 months because you're in a more vulnerable spot. And I think wisdom is wisdom. So at least 6 months. Again, if you're more advanced here at Think Media, I think about not just my wife and I's emergency fund, but I think about the team that we employ and having a year's worth of what does it cost to operate our business? How could we lower monthly expenses? And then also, how could we carry an entire group of people and their children and their families through a recession? And so prepare with a rainy day fund. And Reed mentioned, like, a lot of creators don't do this. They don't really have budgets. They don't really know how much money they're spending. And if you're like me, you might say, Sean, that's me. In fact, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments if you're not really a budgeter, you're not really a money numbers math person. I'll tell you this, I personally am not. My wife, thank God, has been the perfect complementary counterpart. She's actually our CFO. She has always balanced our checkbook, has kept us in financial health. But I have had to learn and increase my financial education because there's no way I could be the CEO of Think Media at the level we're at without really getting educated about money. Where is it coming in? Where is it going? How much are we spending? What are our reserves? And so if you're more like me, just commit to getting a financial education. You may never really be like the really geeky math person. My recommendation is marry somebody who is, right? And but ultimately, thank God she does a really detailed P&L for us every month, keeps us going, sends us warning flags, not just in our business income, but of course our personal income. But nevertheless, get in the know of your numbers. Number 6, all right, is be conscientious of hard times. And in just a second, I do have 3 really good news things for you, specifically for YouTube, and why this is actually going to be an opportunity for YouTube creators. And so if you've really been enjoying this content, I know it's heavy, but I definitely appreciate if you hit like and maybe tag or share this with somebody, because I think this is a pretty important video in light of what's coming. And number 6, be conscientious of hard times. So Reed is just recommending here that you want to be in touch with events going on in the world. And I quote, it's seeing this weird trend coming back to YouTube where a lot of creators are taking extravagant flights. I spent $40,000 on a flight. It's, that's a great YouTube video, but 18 months from now when the world's struggling, it's probably not the video we should film. We see this disconnect with Kim Kardashian and different people. And I know watching this, Kim's probably not watching this right now. And you're like, listen, I'm not in a situation where I can take a $40,000 flight. But I think all of us can be just wise and more tuned in to the tone of what's happening in the world and just sensitive, because you might be doing really well. A recession for you might look like cutting luxury, when for somebody else, it might really look like cutting essentials for living. And so just a really good piece of advice for considering how can this and should this influence your content strategy, which is actually what we're about to talk, because there's 3 things I think you really need to know in regards to the good news of this recession. Now, I don't mean the good news for those that will struggle the most, or any of that, or any being tone deaf or insensitive to that. But there's something true about recessions. And that is that some of the greatest companies have been started during recession. Albert Einstein said, in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. Napoleon Hill said that every adversity, every failure, every heartbreak carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. And so back in 2001, when the dot-com bubble burst, MailChimp was founded. In 2009, Airbnb, Uber, Groupon, and Square were all founded in the very middle of an absolute crash here in America. And so I'm going to be telling you a story in just a second of a YouTuber that I emailed back in the video, that I interviewed back in the video influencers days, and how she positioned her channel to really help people, serve people, make a massive difference, but then also grow wildly during an economic shift. And so I'm going to take a sip of water and let's look at our sponsor again, which is just me sponsoring our own show with our own show, which is our podcast. And again, I am more fired up than ever before, myself, the Think Media team, to get free content in your hands over the next 18 to 24 months and beyond. But we're pivoting to really get you just a whole nother level of intensity, to get you strategic, actionable, practical, tactical wisdom for starting a business online, growing your YouTube channel, your revenue, pivoting and being smart and intelligent, and just giving you the best advice and the best knowledge we can, bringing on our friends and guest experts. And that happens weekly on our podcast. So if you haven't subscribed on audio or to the YouTube channel, definitely check out the Think Media podcast. I'm going to take a sip of my cold brew coffee. I guess it is coffee with Cannell today. And so we definitely want, I got to change the branding. Like, what am I even thinking? Man, there it is. If you look in the upper corner where the Coffee with Cannell show, we got the black and unsweetened Brazilian coffee, keeping it fired up today. I'm going to take a sip here, and I got 3 more tips for you, and then we'll answer some questions in just a second.
Are you looking for the best YouTube marketing and money-making strategies for growing your online business faster? Well, then make sure that you subscribe to the Think Media podcast. Every single Tuesday, we release a power-packed, actionable podcast episode where Sean and Heather cover the latest advanced strategies for growing faster on YouTube. They bring on industry experts and pick their brains on how they can use YouTube to grow with their business and how you can too. And so if you want to find the Think Media podcast, be sure to check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube, and simply search Think Media Podcast wherever you like to listen to podcasts, or just go to thinkmediapodcast.com.
All right. So we are talking all about how creators can prepare for a recession, according to a top manager with clients like Mr. Beast. But in this next part, I just want to pivot with 3 practical tips that I've learned being really on YouTube since 2007. And so the gray in my beard is real. The first YouTube channel I started was for my church in 2007. In 2009, I started a channel called Clear Vision Media. You can actually see this old stuff. It was for my video production business. It's still out there. A bunch of wedding videos, hip hop music videos for Seattle rappers. My Canon Vixia camera, I was creating content, and then eventually my Canon 7D. And then Think Media started in 2010. I've helped a lot of other YouTubers grow their channels. I've been a videographer for many creators. Fast forward, I've interviewed hundreds of creators and entrepreneurs that have leveraged online video now. And so from my perspective, I think I have some unique advice that could be really, really helpful for you. And I think this could be one of the most powerful videos you watch this year in terms of preparing for what's here and what's to come when it comes to thriving on YouTube. And here's the big idea. This is the time to go all in on YouTube. And here's why. Number one, people will be looking for answers and free content. So the cool thing about YouTube is you have a chance to really serve people and make a difference in the lives of others for free. And because even if ad revenues go down, because you can get paid for your viewership through the YouTube Partner Program, listen, brands are not going to stop advertising. Highs and lows in the economy brands are still going to want to get in front of people. They may be paying less, the numbers might go down, but nevertheless, you can still have a stream of income because people will be looking for answers and for free content. See, every recession creates problems, and entrepreneurs solve problems for a profit. But the really cool thing about this is, again, you can let YouTube pay the bill, brands and sponsors pay the bill, and you could serve the end user who could be in a place where they're really hurting. And so this is definitely a time to consider, man, how can I go all in on YouTube and get positioned now to watch, answer the questions that people are asking and will be asking when hard times hit us in the world. Number two, ask what problems will the recession create? And I want to tell you a story. So I did an interview with a creator called Do It on a Dime, and she started in 2011. So this was still the time where things were tough. The housing market was an absolute bottom. People were really, the whole American economy was devastated. Today, she has 2 million subs, 268 million views. It's crazy. But when she told me her story, she was telling me, like, Sean, what I realized was I was starting my YouTube channel and people were hurting. And so I started a channel called Do It on a Dime: how to save money, how to stretch the dollar further. So if you start thinking about, okay, man, it's a recession, the ship is going to sink, we're all doomed. It's never true. There's going to be some sectors that get hit and crushed. So a lot of times luxury sectors. You fast forward a few months ago, and if you were to go buy a Mercedes G-Wagon, people were overpaying $50,000 for them. Now there's 50 of them, 100 of them on the lot, and they can't even get asking price. They got to reduce the price. Things like the luxury market and super like extravagant spending goes down for many people, no matter what income level they're at. On the flip side, though, everyone's asking, how do I make my dollar go further? So here's some strategy for you. Am I suggesting that you start a new channel? Not necessarily, but this could influence your content strategy. How can you help people save money? How can you help people make a dollar go further? And maybe you want to start a new channel. Remember, in 2009, Uber started. In 2009, Airbnb, Groupon, and Square started. And these businesses, Uber became a unicorn, became worth multiple millions of dollars, right? And so multiple billions. And so there may be a new channel you start because you see what's coming. And just like Do It on a Dime, who's still thriving today in any economy, but really got her growth because of smart positioning in a certain season. Albert Einstein said, in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. And Napoleon Hill said, every adversity, every failure, every heartbreak carries with it a seed of equal or greater benefit. So ask yourself, what problems will the recession create? If you think about it, the cool thing about YouTube is you can offer something like, if you're a fitness trainer, you can offer free workouts, free yoga routines, free stretching classes. YouTube pays you ad revenue. Brands might sponsor your content once you have enough influence, but the end user who lost their job, is maybe laid off, can connect with you, and you can monetize and be benefited in that exchange. But also think about when you serve people, maybe in their hardest seasons, then when they bounce back, they have that connection with you. And as times shift, because I think that's also the good news, seasons always change. Yes, we are in a recession. And yes, the creator economy could go into an intense recession, but seasons will always change. And so when you serve people and when you stay focused and when you add value and when you bring encouragement, then ultimately those connections can be made that when people are now prospering, they'll look back with a heart of gratitude, and you can launch out of the recession where people start saying, I wasn't able to back then support you or give to your Patreon or do any of that, but now I can. Why? Because you were thoughtful and intentional about putting in the hustle to really serve people and offer something for free that's valuable, like workouts. Let me give you another example. You could offer high value education for free. Here's one of my favorites. I'm watching this channel called Productivity Game, and it's book summaries for free, and they're phenomenal. So a lot of times they're 7 or 8 minutes. They're kind of like whiteboard book summaries. And I've thought about subscribing to something like Blinkist or those types of things. I haven't got around to it. Michael Hyatt's, but then I realized I was like, these things are this is worth $10 a month, $20 a month, $25 a month, and it's free on YouTube. Now, obviously, Productivity Game can build a big business because of YouTube ad revenue. And so, what is high value education that you can give away for free on YouTube? And you have an incredible opportunity and blessing that YouTube, Google will pay you if that content really serves people. And finally, what is some high quality entertainment that you could also give away? Because think about it. One of the things I'm into is these videos that are like really high quality documentary stories about like Rob Dyrdek was one I watched recently, and I'm forgetting the channel names, but it was like how he dominated YouTube, took over their show with ridiculousness, and it's an OPC strategy, other people's content, fair use, pulling Wikipedia articles, clips off YouTube, photos, but it's making original content. Not easy, like really rich, original, thoughtful. It's influence searching strategy, trend surfing strategy. We teach that like in our, community, in our VRA program. We talk about that stuff in depth, like of how you could do that. But the big idea is it's high value, entertaining content. That's kind of edutainment, because I love learning from someone like a Rob Dyrdek. And ultimately, I watch to the end of these videos. I throw them up on my smart TV, 23 minutes, 32 minutes. This is high quality entertainment that I'm watching on YouTube. And remember, in this ecosystem, people are making money through that ad revenue. I don't have to pay for a Netflix subscription to watch that. I can watch that for free, and either ads can play, or I do pay for YouTube Red. Let me give you one more tip here. And I think this one's probably the most important. When it comes to how can creators survive the recession and even thrive, you got to make a determination to weather the storm. Now, here's what I mean. There's something about positioning yourself now to just have the mental toughness that I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to weather the storm. And here's my favorite illustration of this. Have you seen the movie Forrest Gump? There's a scene in Forrest Gump where Forrest and Lieutenant Dan make a decision to start in the shrimping business. They buy a boat, a used boat. They go out and they're trying to fish for shrimp, but it's an empty net. It's an empty net. It's just not working. And they're super frustrated. And then one night, a terrible storm comes around, and the storm about destroys them. Lieutenant Dan is hanging out on the top of the sail. God, if you get us through this, then I'll actually serve you, kind of a thing. And Forrest is, making the ropes and getting the whole, and they go through this crazy storm that shakes everything. And if you've seen Forrest Gump, you'll remember that the next day they are boating and trolling through the waters near shore, and all the other boats are washed up. All the other boats have been pushed on land. They're broken hulls. There's damage to the other boats, and now they're the only shrimp boat that is still standing. Right? They put down their nets, and now it's nets full of shrimp, nets full of shrimp, nets full of shrimp, because they weathered the storm. When I say determined to weather the storm, it's just this truth that unfortunately a lot of people, and I say this with empathy, but it's just true, a lot of people are going to shrink back in fear. A lot of people are going to allow bad news and recession to paralyze them. A lot of people are not going to intentionally build the character, the confidence, and the mindset to weather the storm. But if you make a commitment to say, I'm going to be wise with my finances. I'm actually going to double down, even to be out on the waters at night, to be able to actually fight through the storm so that when it clears, all of a sudden your Bubba Gump Shrimp Company and there's more shrimp than ever before. Unfortunately, a storm will take a lot of people out, but it doesn't have to take you out. And so I would make a determination even right now to say, I can weather this thing. While many will shrink back, I'm going to go forward. And our ethic here at Think Media is we're not going to give into a spirit of fear. We're not going to allow fear to control us. We're going to have caution. We're not going to be delusional, but we do not give in to a spirit of fear. Instead, as the scriptures say, we believe God has given us a spirit of love and of power and of a sound mind, clear thinking, strategic moves through every season, whether it's recession or whether it's a season of growth and thriving. In either case, we refuse fear and we choose faith. So I hope that this has been valuable to you today. And in just a second, we're going to get into some questions from you. Let me know what a question is that you have. Drop 4 question marks before and after. And I want to encourage you, if you haven't subscribed to the Think Media podcast, I want you to know that you don't have to go this thing alone. Through good and bad seasons, we are here to help you with what we hope is the best, most tactical and strategic information for growing a YouTube channel, getting subscribers, starting a YouTube channel, starting a side hustle, creating multiple streams of income, breaking through. But Sean, it feels like competition is so high. Yeah, it is, but consumption is high as well. And when people sometimes might find themselves without a job or laid off, then they're looking for answers. And so you want to be that answer for people. While many are needing encouragement, you can be that encouragement. While many are in fear, you can be that voice of faith. While many are looking for learning a new skill set or looking for some type of knowledge, you can be that. And if you want to learn how, we have a free resource for you called the Think Media Podcast. It comes out every Tuesday. Definitely subscribe because number one, forever, but especially over the next 3, 6, 12, 18, 24 months, we are going to be putting in extra effort to bring you high value content that will really help you thrive and survive any kind of recession that comes in the creator economy. So check this out and drop your questions with 4 question marks before and after, and we'll get into some Q&A in just a second.
Are you looking for the best YouTube marketing and money-making strategies for growing your online business faster? Well, then make sure that you subscribe to the Think Media podcast. Every single Tuesday, we release a power-packed, actionable podcast episode where Sean and Heather cover the latest advanced strategies for growing faster on YouTube. They bring on industry experts and pick their brains on how they can use YouTube to grow with their business and how you can too. And so if you want to find the Think Media podcast, be sure to check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube, and simply search Think Media Podcast wherever you like to listen to podcasts, or just go to thinkmediapodcast.com.
All right, Coffee with Cannell crew. Thanks so much for being a part of this episode. What was your biggest aha, or what do you need to do next to prepare for what's coming or what's already here? Let me know. I'm coming to you from Seattle with the Roadcaster over here. So you know that you got to just press record. That's right. And I'm super fired up because we are going to be answering your questions. Retro Nerd Girl says, any suggestions for income streams for a film discussion channel during the recession? I think one of the smart things you could do right now is make a list. You could open up Google Sheets, which is kind of like an Excel document, and you should make a list of relevant brands for the audience that you're reaching. When it comes to people that are into film discussions, this could be brands like nerd box, subscription boxes for maybe other retro type things, other action figures, if that would be, that's one that comes to mind for me. You then also maybe look at other channels and look at the brands that are sponsoring those channels. Now, depending on your size, it just doesn't hurt to reach out. Here's your goal. List on your spreadsheet, Google Sheets, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 brands. 2, build it out with contact information. You might have a field for their email if you can find the person's email address. Find out who manages marketing for that brand on LinkedIn. Connect with them, follow them. Find out who manages marketing or influencer marketing on Twitter. Connect with them, follow them. And look to do biz dev. If anything, also make a list and make a field that says affiliate marketing. And can you sign up for an affiliate program for them? You don't have to actually have a brand deal to do so. And then another option would be maybe later they can do a brand deal with you. And so the income stream in that case would be, you could look at what like Sean Cannell Talks does. And he has Audible. And when he reviews a movie like It or one of the recent Batman movies, he recommended an Audible free download where he gets $5 to $10 per Audible signup related to recommending a graphic novel someone should buy on Amazon or an audiobook of Batman that they should listen to. And so different things like that, I think, would tie into your channel. And I really suggest checking some of those out. I am going to drop it like it's hot. What just happened? There we go. Standing desk going down into sit mode. Uh-oh. Is the camera angle going to be correct? All right. Let's get this going. Coffee with Cannell. What do you know about this second angle? Okay. Smash like if you're getting value and you're having a good time. And Digit Hustle Network says, what was this a bad time to start channel memberships? Considering the topic of discussion? I don't think so. I mean, if you're adding value in channel memberships, people can always unsubscribe. I think it's preparing that maybe that is something that people will take off their credit cards when they're tightening their belts, a Patreon, a channel membership, something that they're subscribed to. But you know, if you're serving your audience and you're adding value, I don't think you have to worry about that at all. Jenny C, in the VRA, are there opportunities for individual members to have interactive conversations with the Think Media staff, whether in the Facebook group or the or other? Right now, our biggest way of doing that, Jenny, is what's called our Grow with Video Bootcamp. And so that's our coaching and accountability program. We're going through a cohort basically of it right now, where we do an implementation day where there's a lot of coaching and breakups in Zoom groups. And then there's 6 weeks of Zoom groups and conversation with Heather, myself, the Think Media team. The next one starts in October. And so that's the best way to do that. Of course, other than that, just remember that you have access to the tip of the month. You have access to the VRA show, and we do our best, our Q&A monthly inside of there. We do our best to get as many people as we can in there. And that's, you know, of course, no extra charge or anything different. So check out those resources. And you can always go to talkwiththink.com if you want to learn more about the next boot camp. We also have coaching too, but it's pretty expensive just because of the time it takes to go into it. So we are trying to offer those. You know, once people's membership at VRA is paid off, they literally have lifetime access. So a lot of people are benefiting naturally from, you know, like if you're in VRA right now, you have lifetime access. You could benefit from all the tips and stuff that we're dropping in that membership group and the Q&As that we do monthly with some channel reviews and video reviews and things like that. But otherwise, check out the bootcamp. Grow with Video Bootcamp. Talkwiththink.com would be the best place to talk to our team about that. What are your predictions on where advertiser revenues go in the short term? Well, they just don't go anywhere, if that's what you're asking. I mean, they just get, the belt gets tightened. This messy area over here is, I don't like that. That's messy. I wonder if I could, oh yeah. I mean, that's just a skit. That's just, yeah. Okay. So what are your predictions on where advertiser revenues go in the short term? A lot of times they're just going to spend less. And if that's what you mean, if you go all the way back to the beginning of this video and you're just joining live, based on Reed, Mr. Beast, one of Mr. Beast's managers. He's saying that we should predict a 30% potential drop in RPMs and CPMs. So I think that's probably a good metric, and that's based on data from the past. What are questions you should ask possible affiliate companies when they approach you? If you haven't done research, I could have been scammed by a dodgy company today. I think one of the things that you have an opportunity of there is look at their website. Just look, like there could be almost a spidey sense of how legit is this. So the quality, that's not the only thing, but I would definitely look at their website. You could Google their website as well. Better Business Bureau. There's some different sites selling tech, maybe in your case, maybe it's gaming accessories, and someone says this site is a scam or something, that would of course put up red flags. So you're trying to work with, there's probably A-list companies. So of course, like Elgato and Corsair, well, that's going to be like more A-list. There might be some B-list companies that'd be great to work with, even C, but then some don't even fall in those categories. So I just do your due diligence. And what's the worst that can happen? The key is you don't necessarily want to recommend something sketchy to your website. So if you haven't fully vetted it and that brand does not have a reputation, you don't know for sure that it's legit, you haven't done your due diligence and research, I would avoid working with them at all, or definitely avoid doing any kind of recommendation, because through you, someone trusts you, you haven't done your due diligence. And then that ultimately impacts your reputation, because people are trusting you ultimately when it comes to that. How can I best transition my current channel? Christianity Explained to ones that serves up friendly gaming content, Minecraft. That's not a transition I would recommend. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that Christianity Explained, you're uploading 1, 2, 3, 4, 50, 100 videos on that topic, and then you want to change to Minecraft. I think that pivot is too dramatic and too extreme. Unless you called it, and I don't love this idea, but maybe you do, the Christian Minecraft channel, something like that, Minecraft for Christians. It's not a terrible idea. Maybe not that name. It's just that, gospel gamers, because you have to think about the psychology of why people subscribe to in the first place. But the thing is, they subscribed in the first place. If it's Christianity Explained, explaining this thing in the Bible, explaining this thing in history, explaining this verse. Now you're doing gaming content. That signals to me that you should start a second channel, which I don't always encourage either. And I would ask, why don't you actually double down on the channel that you're already doing? Why pivot? You certainly can, but just a couple thoughts. All right. What in the world, what is the word on brand deals? I was just feeling that it'd be a great part of income. And is it still worth it? Oh, definitely worth it. Yeah, no, brand deals are absolutely worth it. There's multiple levels. The brand deals are, the lowest level is like emailing a company and they go, oh yeah, we'll send you like a free sample. You're working with the brand and we'll let you use the affiliate link. Lower than that would just be, you just start using the affiliate link. You buy the product yourself. It's not really a brand deal, but it's kind of like the levels. So level number one is you find a product you already have. So like I already have a Rodecaster. That's where I can do this money sound. Wow. Was that the cash register sound? I can't actually hear it because my headphones are not on. So I have this Rodecaster. I bought it with money, or I think Rode sent this to us, but I bought a lot of gear with my own money. I can now make a video about it, link it on Amazon, link it on B&H Photo, and earn money as an affiliate. In fact, when we work with Rode, to my knowledge, they've never paid us. So that's level number two. When we get to know Rode, we, Think Media, have grown our influence to where companies want to at least send us free gear. Pretty cool. That's what waits for you on the other side of the hustle in your niche. So now we're not being paid, but we're getting free product, and we can mention that and disclose that in the video, but we can also link to it as an affiliate. That's kind of the beginnings of a brand deal. The next level would be you're also being paid. So we'll pay you $1,000 to mention and do an ad read in your video, or we'll pay you $10,000 to make a dedicated video about this that we can use. And this is one thing a lot of smaller creators don't consider. You have a huge opportunity to use your video production skills. You might go, oh, my channel's not very big. Well, you make a dedicated video for a brand with great video production, great education, and you negotiate with them and say, you could post this on your YouTube channel. You can use this in your Facebook ads. You could actually run my video as an ad. You're not just leveraging your influence. You got 1,000 subscribers, 5,000 subscribers, but you're actually negotiating more intelligently to say, I'm going to make you creative. And what I mean is a video, like media creative that they could run as ads, they can post on their Instagram. I'll make you a vertical version of it. I'll make you a square version of it. I'll make you the YouTube version of it. And so you're biz dev and hustling around brand deals, no matter what size of creator you are. If you're finding this kind of info valuable, smash like. By the way, as just kind of a general life update, I got a procedure the other day, 21 injections in my elbows, wrists, fingers, repetitive stress injury, carpal tunnel, chronic tendonitis, tendinosis, at a place called Regenix. Happy to report I'm alive. The recovery process is a couple weeks. I'm in week 2 right now, and I can do light activity. I've been out for a bit. I mean, we repurpose a lot of content, but it's good to be back, Coffee with Cannell fam, and grateful for you being a part of the Think community. And I'm on a journey to recovery. The PRP and the stem cells, they drilled 6 holes in my tailbone and extracted 6 vials of bone marrow. And then they cultivated my own stem cells out of my own body and re-injected those into my shoulders, into my C6 vertebrae. So anyways, here I am. And grateful for this, and we'll see how it goes. And the results start kind of playing out over 1, 2, 3, 4 months, kind of healing. It's technically non-surgical, although they used a drill in my butt to ultimately extract this bone marrow. That seems pretty surgical to me, but I didn't have to, cut my carpal ligament or whatever, and or get cortisol shots or any of that stuff, which is nice to avoid for the time being. So anyways, that's what I've been up to. What have you been up to? Hit the like button for getting 21 injections in 2 hours with lots of needles. They put me under, thank God. All right. Sketches and Scrubs says, any advice for an art channel? Unsure what level of importance people and brands will place on channels. I create vlogs, tutorials, and product reviews. Listen, every business is going to want to reach their ideal audience and ideal customers during good times, bad times, and recessions. So people who create canvas and drawing paper and colored pencils and colored pens and DIY scrapbooking materials and all of the above will still need to do business today and tomorrow. As an art channel, you have the opportunity to partner and work with those types of brands. You also have the opportunity to, again, make videos like the best budget art supplies on Amazon. A title like that is going to be a lot more searched and interesting during a recession. And so you can position yourself now to do both of those things. Your tutorials and your product reviews are probably your best position type of content. But I also would encourage you maybe just consider what you mean when you say I do vlogs, because even vlogs can be very strategic, meaning they're more relational, they show more lifestyle, but you could do a vlog style product review. You could do a vlog style tutorial. I think that in your case, And we just highly recommend. We understand there's a whole opportunity for viral entertainment type of content. But man, education and solving a problem is just so much more practical, not only to growth on YouTube for the average creator, but also for monetization. Because when someone is looking for the best budget art supplies, then they're in a mindset of realizing maybe dollars are tight, but we're not going to stop creating. We still want to express our creativity. So there's a ton of opportunity for you. And while brands might spend less, I think we just have to accept that they're still going to spend money. So while ad revenue might be less, I think we just need to accept that there's still going to be ad revenue. So if the mountain gets steeper, we get fitter and just, double down on how hard you're working. I'm changing the colors of the room. Watch the corner. Are we going to go orange in the corner? I'm going Sunset Havana out here. That's a little, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Phillips Hugh. Okay, so next question. Thanks for the questions, y'all. And let's look at a aha moment from the VRA fam. Use this uncertain time to bring high value education content to my viewers. I've been sharing inspirational content. Now's the time to buckle down. Now is the time to buckle down and teach to better serve. I love it. Great insight and great aha moment. And if you're just joining, sorry, I'm going to now change. I need to tie these together better and just be able to talk to Alexa. Oh, there we go. See that? Now I'm putting the dresser lights right behind me. Office Iris. Let's get that. We're going to a whole Havana kind of, yeah, let's go Fairfax. There we go. It's not quite, whatever. Sean, stick to the point. Distracted. If you're just joining, this is one of probably the most important videos I've ever made. So I really encourage you to check out the replay, save this one, and maybe share this with somebody if you found this valuable today. If you're asking questions, do me a favor and put 4 question marks before and after the question. That helps me see it. And then I'll be able to know that it's a question. And if you're enjoying this, hit that like button. Sketches and Scrubs asks, how do you transition from gifting level 2 to actual brand deals? Well, your size of your influence is partly related to that. And so level 2, just getting a bunch of free colored pencils, which should probably be incredibly practical for you. Cause what is the cost of some colored pencils, to the actual brand, which is cool. So then how do you actually get them to start paying you? A couple practical tips. Number 1, build a media kit. So, your media kit just starts saying what your rates are. And now you have a list of 50 brands to work with, as we talked about earlier at this Q&A, and you start reaching out to them. You don't maybe just send them your media kit. You ask them, are they interested in a discussion? Are they even interested? And they say, yes. What are the next steps? You go, well, here's my media kit. This is what I charge. We could do one-off video. We could do a 3-month partnership, a 6-month partnership. So you could consider building out a media kit. The second thing is you could go to marketplaces. I forget, back in the day, there was a marketplace called FameBit. They got absorbed by Google and YouTube, and now they are the Brand Connect inside of YouTube. But if you look up brand deal marketplaces, there's 4 or 5 of them, and you can log into these places and brands. It's a middleman, and you can look at the offerings that are there. Whether or not you go through the marketplace, you could see that there's these 5 art companies that are even interested in working with creators, and you could go that direction. And that's kind of what it is. You sort of just have to shift into it. And then again, part of it is building up your influence. Chances are, if you are a micro creator, some brands just may not want to work with a channel under 10,000 subscribers or under 50,000. That's fine. There's plenty who will. And so focus on growing your influence, and then you can have those brands come to you. By the way, too, make it easy to connect with you. Make it easy to connect with you on Twitter. Make it easy to connect with you on the email that's on your page, your YouTube page, about page. Make it easy to connect with you on LinkedIn. Have a professional presence in all of those places. because you want any brands. The biggest one's going to be that email address connected to your YouTube channel, because a brand, if they find your channel, they find a video, you want them to be able to send a deal directly to you. And that would be one of my favorite places also to biz dev and hustle, is really optimize your Twitter profile and use it as a way to reach out to brands. So example, the other day or a while back, I actually was looking for monitors. Like I was looking for, let me give you a third angle here. Why not? Can we do that? Look at us. No signal. That's great. There you go. So I was looking for monitors, and I was thinking like, how could I, ultimately maybe get free monitors, leverage my influence that I've worked hard for building Think Media. So I got on Twitter and tweeted Asus, Vizio, other ones, ViewSonic, and I asked them, do you work publicly? Because if they don't follow me, I can't DM them. Do you ever collaborate or work with YouTubers in a brand deal fashion or whatever? And I tweet them. They maybe follow me back. They maybe tweet me publicly and they say, yes, here's the email address for learning more about that. Or they follow me and DM me and say, yes, tell us more about your channel or whatever it is. So I start with a question. I don't start with tweeting them a media kit. You start with a question to get that relationship, going, and then you see where it goes. And then I think the final consideration is too many creators out here are just taking way too few actions. What do I mean? You get up, you find 3 brands you want to work with, you send 3 tweets, and then you go on your lunch break. It's not good enough. You got to multiply, you got to 10x and 100x the activities that you're doing when it comes to putting in hustle to really make it in the creator economy in good or bad times. So that's why don't come up with 3 brands you want to potentially work with. Come up with 300. Figure out software apps for DIY people, drawing apps. Figure out every colored pencil company, every pen company, every stucco, glue, scrapbooking, anything relevant to your niche. Watch 20 of your competitors, look at any of them that have brand integrations, watch 40 of your competitors, look at all of their top 22 products they recommend, budget Amazon arts and crafts, and build out a spreadsheet with 300 companies to reach out to. Optimize your Twitter game. Don't be pushy or salesy towards a brand, but put a good profile picture on your Twitter. Optimize your bio. Get your game cleaned up, and then tweet all 300 of those brands, and then wait until 2 weeks go by and do it again. And so I think a lot of times the amount of actions creators are taking are the reason there's a gap between the results and the breakthrough, especially when you're on that come up and that hustle. Of course, Mr. Beast has a lot of inbound brands. Of course, we at Think Media have a ton of inbound brands that want to work with us, but don't get it twisted. Before there was ever Nolan Molt and Omar El Takori and Heather Torres, Sean Cannell by himself, waiting tables at Red Robin and working at a church and pastoring a campus of a church in Irvine, California, had to go home, sit down, shoot a video, plan a video, research a video, tweet some companies, post the video, optimize title, description, tags that sucker, do it again on my off day, after work for a few hours, after date night with my wife, Sonia, and then going to my computer to work for a couple more hours. On my Saturday morning when everybody else is watching cartoons, I'm up tweeting companies. There's just something about putting in 10, 30, 100 times more hustle than others. Not toxic hustle culture, but sometimes you got to live today like no one else so you can live like no one else in the future. The law of sacrifice is you got to give up to go up. And so I was not watching extra seasons of the new Kardashians or The Bachelor or Downton Abbey during that season of my life. I was focused on my dreams. And so that's what I would recommend. And that's how you transition. You hustle your way there. Hit some like buttons for the rants on a Friday. Hey, TGIF. The grind includes Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God we're free. Rise and grind. We are out here. This is the Coffee with Cannell show. You got to just press record. And I'm catching up on your questions. Got one or two questions coming at you, and I'm excited to just to be hanging out with you on a Friday. Sam Azor, advice for juggling multiple channels or deciding which one to focus on. I believe in all of my channel ideas, so it's hard to put any aside. I'm grateful for this question. I'm super grateful you're here, and I've got some good but challenging advice for you. I do not recommend doing multiple channels. It's hard enough to run one channel. It's hard enough to run one business, let alone two or three. It's really the power of focus, and if you try and chase two rabbits, you'll end up catching neither of them. And so the problem is, I have no doubt that there are multiple channels. I have no doubt that each of your channel ideas is a great idea. But my challenge to you is to just pick one. And here's my framework for how you should pick one. I think you should pick one that's at the intersection of which one do you love the most? I love them all the same. Pick one. Which one do you love the most? Which one are you also potentially best at? Do you know the most about? Which one would help you if you had to come up with 50 video ideas off the top of your head? Which one would be the easiest to come up with video ideas? You have the greatest depth of knowledge, the most amount of experience. And then the third question is which one could be the most profitable? And so that is a question about which one is there the least competition on YouTube? And I'm sure there's a lot of competition, but the least, which one do you have the most fresh or unique angle on it? For more on that, check out the book, The Blue Ocean Strategy. You could just look at a book summary on YouTube of the Blue Ocean Strategy. Which one could you have your most unique positioning on? Which one also could be the quickest path to revenue? But you might say, Sean, you have multiple YouTube channels. True. I also have 23 people working on the Think Media team. So what I'm suggesting is that when you're in the solopreneur season, when you're starting out and you're just beginning something, it is so hard to do multiple things well. So really tap into the power of focus and pick one. And when you discover the quickest and shortest path to revenue, once money's coming in, now you've hired a video editor. Once money's coming in, now you actually are able to quit your day job. You have extra time. Once money's coming in, you're able to get better software, better automation, maybe somebody helping you. And so in that season, it could be completely reasonable for you to start another channel. And I want to share some intense numbers. And of course, this isn't exact math, but I actually don't think you should start a second channel, depending on the niche. But I don't think you should start a second channel until you have at least 100,000 subscribers and you're making a six-figure revenue. I am empathetic that in the creator economy, that if you can grow your channel to 22,000 subs and you're making $52,000 a year, that's absolutely incredible. And that is more common than ever before. And no matter what season, thriving or recession, that is practical right now. But here are my advice, that the person who has one channel and is earning 50K a year, they should not start a second channel yet, even though it would be better. Like if you're at least doing that, then you have way more intelligence and strategy and right to do that. But I would recommend that even if you're established, some money's coming in, you're kind of comfortable, I'm making 50K, I do have a part-time editor, I still think you should double down and get your 50,000 sub, 22,000 sub channel to 100,000 subs, because it's going to be easier to grow the channel that you already have momentum on. It's going to be easier to get $3,000 a month to $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 a month than it is to start something else from scratch. But Sean, isn't there an exception to the rule? Of course there's exceptions to the rule, but these are just some guidelines to help you make a practical strategy and to help you tap into the power of focus. For more on this, highly recommend the book Essentialism. Of course, we'll link up the books if you're a reader, audiobook listener, Blue Ocean Strategy, the book Essentialism. You can check those out in the YouTube description. One of my favorite things is to watch book summaries on YouTube as well. You can watch those for free, get the big ideas. You should be an essentialist. If you want to thrive in the creator economy, when there's tons of distractions, tons of shiny objects, I want to start 3, 4, 5 channels. Great. Maybe you can do that eventually, but pick one and focus on it. My friends, smash the like button if you're grateful. Today, I'm going to take a sip of my mountain spring water. And today's Coffee with Cannell is brought to you by the Think Media podcast. I highly recommend, if you haven't checked out our new episodes every Tuesday, check them out. Check out this video.
Are you looking for the best YouTube marketing and money-making strategies for growing your online business faster? Well, then make sure that you subscribe to the Think Media podcast. Every single Tuesday, we release a power-packed, actionable podcast episode where Sean and Heather cover the latest advanced strategies for growing faster on YouTube. They bring on industry experts and pick their brains on how they can use YouTube to grow with their business and how you can too. And so if you want to find the Think Media podcast, be sure to check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube, and simply search Think Media Podcast wherever you like to listen to podcasts, or just go to thinkmediapodcast.com.
Welcome back to the Coffee with Cannell show. My name is Sean Cannell, rhymes with YouTube channel, and I am on a mission to help you win on YouTube as the standing desk rises and the shot composition is grossly compromised. I want to just say I appreciate you. I hope your Friday is going good. My camera angle is super messed up now. That's a little bit better. And we are out here in Seattle, Washington, holding it down, helping you win on YouTube. Hey, if you look up on the wall behind me, there's a copy of my book, YouTube Secrets. That's actually the first edition. That's a gnarly, beat up copy. And recently, we just dropped the second edition of YouTube Secrets. If you have not checked out that book, you actually can get it for free at tubesecretsaudio.com. If you don't have an Audible account, you can get it for free. But the second edition of YouTube Secrets is out. Here's what it looks like. The updated second edition. This is 80 new pages, completely rewritten and re-updated. In part 1, we go through the 7 C's of YouTube success. Here they are. You got to start with courage. Then you got to get clear. Start with the end in mind, clarity. 3, you got to set up your channel. 4, you got to figure out your content strategy. 5, you want to focus on your community and really build super fans. 6, cash. How do you monetize your content? 7, consistency. You want to hustle your way to success. And how do you stay consistent and build systems and rhythms into your world? And then in part 2, we kind of get into advanced stuff. The new chapter, the perfect video recipe, is worth your investment into the book alone. We talk about social media, completely rewrote that chapter. My views on social media have dramatically changed. I think it's great for some of us, but the question is, are you in the side hustle season, solopreneur season, or scale season? And depending on what season you're in, it should be how you treat social media. Talk about discoverability, all the new stuff for what it takes to rank on YouTube, which is different now. The original version of this book came out in 2018. Trends and tent poles, team, how to scale with a team, how to think differently, and new YouTube features. So a new chapter all about shorts, things like that. The whole thing's updated, 269 pages now. The book is called YouTube Secrets, and it's out on Amazon. So we have the ebook, the audio book, and we have the paperback Kindle and the audiobook. Over 2,175 reviews at a 4.6 out of 5 rating on the book. And you know, it'd be fun would be to someday read the negative reviews, because this isn't going to help my case. Waste of time and money. To save you the burden of reading this book, I will summarize it for you. Start a channel, find a niche, and post consistently. Listen, any authors out there, now, mind you, then you go over to, that's an unverified review. You go over to Mike Dice's review, who's verified, And you could get the waste of time and money versus the science of YouTube success. These guys have success on YouTube down to a science, no tricks or gimmicks. That's the polarization of the internet. Are you like me? You go to Amazon. It's like 10,000 positive reviews, but you read 2 negative reviews that are upvoted, and you're just like, wait, I don't know if this is there's like not a product in the world, and you definitely cannot make everybody happy. But I think one of the things, not that you asked, the ship is sinking, Sean. Stop talking about the reviews. Don't point out. Listen, if you go to the most recent, right? That's what you can do. You can go to most recent. You could see actually just maybe even the first version wasn't as good as the second version, which is probably true. The second version is like 10 times better. And so you could see all these positive reviews on the book. So anyways, YouTube Secrets is on Amazon. Just search for YouTube Secrets or go to Audible. And if you don't have an Audible account, you can pick up a copy for free. If you go to tubesecretsaudio.com, it'll take you right there. If you already own a copy of the first book on Kindle or audio, all you got to do is go into your app and just refresh it. You don't have to rebuy it. So kind of a cool benefit. If you bought the original book, you can just update the Kindle or the audio book without rebuying it. If you're just hearing about this, you would have to buy it, on Kindle or physically or audio, or if you try Audible, $0.00. You can do a trial and grab a copy for free. Anybody read YouTube Secrets? Have you checked out that book? Let me know, and let me know if you got value out of it, an aha review, aha from it, and check that out. All right, final questions. I got a couple more questions for you. Question: what are your thoughts about cross-platform content? Stream to Twitch, parlay that into YouTube and YouTube Shorts, IG Reels, and TikTok. I'll tell you what we do. I'll tell you the dark side and the good side of that. Should you repurpose your content and put it on multiple platforms? I think that the good side is you can use a software like StreamYard, and you can multi-stream. I'm multi-streaming right now. I'm going to my Facebook page. What's up, Facebook? We're going to our Facebook group for Think Media, and we're on our Think Media podcast channel. I'm thoughtful about that. I handpicked those channels to multi-stream to. I guess we could also go to Twitch. Beats a poke in the eye. The dark side about this is that sometimes if you divide your message across too many platforms, it's hard to really serve the platform. If you really spend a lot of time greeting each platform, hey, YouTube, want to shout out Facebook. Hey, Twitch, hope you guys are doing good over there. Hey, man, we're also on that Twitter one. What's that Twitter one called? Periscope. Hey, Periscope. You know what I mean? Like you're just you're multi-streaming, and it could dilute just the ultimate stream. So I think if you're thoughtful and intentional, multi-streaming can be a good idea. I think the second opportunity is to actually create really great content as you asked. We do this with like our video podcast or this. I mean, I'm actually doing it right now. The Coffee with Cannell show is streaming. It's an hour and 33 minutes and 16 seconds into it right now. And after this, clips from this show will be cut out and posted on places like my Instagram Reels and TikTok and maybe YouTube Shorts. And so I think repurposing gives you a lot of opportunity. And one of the reasons, even question and answer can be good. It's one question, one answer, could be potentially repurposed other places. The dark side is this. I think that sometimes when people are starting, they try to do too much too soon. So is repurposing great? It is. But is doing it as one person can be very difficult. So you can use a service like Repurpose House, but it's still going to take your time and your thinking to give them the time codes and give them the strategy. You might be able to hire an individual to repurpose the content for you. And so in some cases, here's my best advice. I like to encourage people to figure out what is the shortest path to revenue? What is the minimal amount of weekly tasks you can do to generate revenue? Get that revenue coming in, then reinvest that revenue into posting the content in multiple places and scaling up team and systems around you, because you can only do so much. Other than that, just consider like what season of life are you in? Because listen, if you don't have a job because maybe somebody else is the main breadwinner, or you're just in a season where you don't need one, or you're already a solopreneur, meaning you're by yourself, but you make a full-time living as a creator. Well, decide how much you want to work a week. If you want to work 40, 50, 60, whatever, then you could do all the above, but you just want to be really thoughtful with how you're spending your time and your energy. And sometimes the return on investment of cutting out an Instagram reel, and you have barely any followers on Instagram and it gets a couple hundred views, but like what for, might have been better invested in just doubling down on better YouTube content. Whereas maybe eventually you posting on TikTok and some repurposed content because someone's helping you, it doesn't really matter what the quote unquote ROI is. Of course, you want there to be a return on investment there, but it's going to be less of a distraction from the main thing, focusing on a lesser thing based on the season that you're in. Was that helpful? Stone Can Yawn I Show. Any place for YouTube ads to get more views, subs up front when building up monetization? If you mean placing YouTube ads, like paying for YouTube ads to grow your viewership and your subscribers, it's usually a bad idea. It does not map towards real organic viewership typically. And sometimes it can drive some subs, but they're not super engaged. The best way to build up to monetization and the best way to build up real engaged subscribers is with organic content that wins subscriptions from real people without ads. If you're going to use YouTube ads, you should run them to a product or a program. Like we use YouTube ads that tell people about like our free class or something free. And then we have a product or a program, but here's the key. It makes sense because based on the amount of money we can earn from the people who see the power of investing in our online course, makes paying for the ads make sense. Paying for YouTube ads just to get views and subscribers doesn't ultimately make sense. And it's too much of a moonshot pipe dream and unlikely to happen to build up to monetization. Like, oh, I invest 50, 100, hundreds now so that my channel gets monetized. I just would not recommend it. Gil summarized it in far fewer words. Only run ads if selling a product. Well said, Gil. Great point. And let's see. I purchased the first version of YouTube Secrets. It was beneficial. Thank you for the second edition. You're welcome. Grateful for the feedback. Appreciate you. And thanks for all the kind words today, y'all. I really appreciate you being here. Thanks for the love in our community. It looks like my wife and son, Sean Bradley, and our friends, Sarah and her daughter, Mila, just pulled into the very driveway that I can see through the window right here. So listen, couple things. Thanks for checking out this episode. If you're watching live, definitely watch the replay. And do me a favor. If you got a ton of value today, this is one of the videos I want to get into people's hands more than anything else. I just think that the information we shared was powerful, practical. And so if you know somebody who is wanting to maybe start a YouTube channel or position themselves in the creator economy, would you share this with them? You on Facebook, you could, click share or tag them in the comments, on YouTube, you email this to somebody or share this with somebody. And then remember, every Tuesday, at least, we're releasing new episodes on the Think Media podcast. And so definitely subscribe on YouTube, or you can go to thinkmediapodcast.com and you can see that we're on all kinds of platforms. And so Heather and I are bringing you weekly content. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, any of your favorite spots. You can check out past episodes, and there's just content to help you really survive and thrive. And we're going to be having extra focus on really helping you win in the coming months of a real recession that's happening. How bad will it be? We don't know for sure, but regardless, we're going to be here bringing you free information to help you get more views, grow your subscribers, earn money, find brand deals, find how to position yourself, write great titles, make better videos, optimize your videos. So many guest interviews coming up with experts. So definitely subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Could be Apple or Spotify, or on YouTube if you want the video podcast version of the podcast. My name is Sean Cannell, rhymes with YouTube channel. Smash like if you got if you got value today on the Coffee with Cannell show. And I look forward to hanging out soon, friends. Appreciate you.
Are you looking for the best YouTube marketing and money-making strategies for growing your online business faster? Then make sure that you are subscribed to the Think Media podcast. Every single Tuesday, we release a power-packed, actionable podcast episode where we cover the latest advanced strategies for growing faster on YouTube. We also bring on industry experts and we pick their brains on how they're using YouTube to grow their businesses and how you can do it too. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Just search Think Media Podcast wherever you like to listen to your podcast, or head to thinkmediapodcast.com.